bring in CBS News foreign policy and national security contributor, General H.R. McMaster. He's also a former national security advisor during President Trump's first administration. So, General, as you know, we're a little more than a week removed from the U.S. airstrikes in Iran. How effective do you think this attempt at peace through strength actually was? It does seem, from our reporting, our Imtiaz Tayyip is in Tehran. He just had a meeting with Iran's foreign minister, that they feel that they've been able to defend themselves. But as you know, they're in a very weakened position right now.
They're in an extraordinarily weakened position, Vlad. The strikes were very successful in context of the Israeli campaign that preceded it. So you have to look at it holistically. You know, the strikes by the U.S. B-2 bombers were very effective at the deeply buried sites. But in context of the whole campaign, what Israel did is it went after the entire supply chain for Iran's nuclear program and also, their missile program and their drone capabilities. They killed scientists who were critical to maintaining the kind of knowledge needed to develop nuclear weapons. And of course, the leadership of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps has been decimated as well. So, Ayatollah Khamenei was sidelined during this period of time. He was in a bunker outside of Tehran. And so how is the regime responding? Well, what they responded with is like a 98-year-old cleric issued a fatwa for the death of President Trump and for Prime Minister Netanyahu, and they're rounding up their own people, and imprisoning and torturing and beating their own people. So I think the regime is a profoundly weak position economically, financially as well, Vlad. And now's the time to keep the pressure on, and also to continue to send a message to the Iranian people. Hey, our problem is not with you. It's with this regime that has caused so much suffering and violence across the Middle East, killed so many Americans, Israelis, their Arab neighbors, and their own people.
So, General, as you know, there are sort of two schools of thought about whether Iran's capabilities have been degraded to the extent that they will never be able to enrich that uranium to achieve, to build those nuclear weapons. There are some who've suggested that back in the 1990s, 1993, when it was discovered that North Korea was attempting something similar, that President Clinton should have done what President Trump did to ensure that they would not achieve that nuclear capability. Of course, we did not bomb North Korea, and now, a couple of years later, they had nuclear weapons. There are some saying that Iran, this bombing will put them on the path to achieving that nuclear weapon, and others saying it'll never happen because they're too afraid that President Trump will strike once again. How do you see it?
Well, it remains to be seen, but I think these strikes and the whole campaign, as I mentioned, set them back considerably, Vlad. And as you mentioned, an important aspect of this is now they've got a decision to make. If you think that the United States and Israel are going to act again, do you decide to restart this extremely costly program when now you've got all kinds of other issues as well? Iran, which is analogous to North Korea's capabilities, had a huge conventional and terrorist capability on Israel's borders, much like North Korea in '93 and still today can threaten Seoul with massive artillery and conventional rockets and missiles. What Israel did was brilliant in terms of rolling back Hezbollah in particular, as well as other militias and Iranian proxy armies on their border in Syria, the West Bank, and in Gaza as well. And that took away from Iran what they had been their principal deterrent to an Israeli strike.
Really, really interesting. As always, brilliant analysis from General H.R. McMaster. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, today. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Vlad.
Thank you.